Have you ever read something so disturbing that it made you stop and question everything? What if I told you that tucked deep inside the Bible, between stories of heroes, kings, and prophets, lies a chapter so dark, so morally complex, that many avoid it entirely? This isn't just about ancient violence. This is about the human soul, naked, broken, and exposed. In this story, you won't find comfort. You'll find silence where justice should be loud. You'll see a Levite abandon the woman he should have protected, a nation explode into civil war, and a solution so twisted it makes you wonder, how far can people go trying to fix what they broke? It's not just a story, it's a mirror. Because let's be real, we've all seen it. Pain hidden behind religion, violence excused in the name of pride, decisions made in impulse that later charge interest to the soul. This story may be thousands of years old, but it bleeds into today's reality. And once you understand it, you'll never see justice the same way again. So if your heart is open and you have the courage to face raw truth, stay with me. In the next few minutes, you're going to enter a journey that may turn you inside out. Because when the light goes out, what we choose to do reveals who we really are. And hey, if this opens your eyes or touches your spirit, consider subscribing. Here we walk together, toward the truth that sets us free. What if I told you there's a story in the Bible that starts with abandonment and ends in civil war and the near extinction of an entire tribe? Sounds like a movie plot, right? But it really happened. Back then, Israel had no king. And where there's no leadership, chaos slips in like a thief in the night. It was like a house with no walls, where everyone did whatever seemed right in their own eyes. And in the middle of that confusion, a man steps in, a Levite from the hills of Ephraim. This Levite wasn't just some background character. He took a concubine from Bethlehem, but the relationship turned sour quickly. She left him and returned to her father's house, maybe tired of a stifling routine, like many today who quietly leave toxic or emotionally cold relationships. After 4 long months, he decides to go after her. Funny, isn't it? Just when it seemed like he had let it go. We often do the same, circle back to what we never really processed. When he arrives, he's welcomed by the father-in-law with over-the-top hospitality. Days go by, feasting, drinking, and stalling, as if delaying the journey back could somehow push away the coming storm. Ever felt that in life? Like something is holding you back and you can't explain why? That moment wasn't wasted time. It was a warning. The atmosphere was already thick. But hang on. What happens next will chill you to the bone. Eventually, the Levite decides to leave with the woman. Maybe he thought the worst was behind them, but the road back would lead straight into darkness. How often do we believe that just because we're doing the right thing, everything will magically align? Life, with all its hidden wisdom and wild turns, doesn't work like that. And right there, right on that road, the story veers into something so brutal, you won't see it coming. Imagine this. It's getting late, the sky darkens, and you're far from home. The Levite and his concubine stop in Gibeah, a town of the tribe of Benjamin, hoping for shelter. But no one offers them a place to stay, not even a crumb of kindness. That silence? It was louder than words. Just when it seemed they'd sleep on the streets, an old man steps in, offering refuge. And that's when the real darkness begins to whisper. That night, as shadows stretched across the walls, a group of men surrounded the house. Their demand? Unthinkable. They wanted the Levite handed over so they could abuse him. Yes, that's how twisted it got. The host refuses, desperate to protect his guest. But then, something shocking happens. The Levite, perhaps out of fear or moral collapse, pushes his concubine outside instead. It's a moment so disturbing, you almost wish it were fiction. She is assaulted throughout the night, a soul torn apart by violence, by silence, by betrayal. And at dawn, she collapses at the doorway, her hand reaching toward the threshold, as if trying to return to the safety that never came. This image, it stays with you. It haunts you. How many today, especially women, still live stories of silence, of being sacrificed, forgotten, erased? This ancient story echoes in every ignored cry and every door that stays shut. When the Levite opens the door and finds her lifeless, his reaction is chillingly calm. He tells her to get up, but she doesn't move. And that's when the horror fully sinks in. We often close our eyes to the suffering we've caused or allowed. We justify, we deflect. But what happened that night in Gibeah reveals something raw about human nature. When we stop protecting the vulnerable, darkness takes over. And sadly, it was just the beginning. What happens when silence turns into rage? The Levite, overwhelmed, or perhaps seeking justice, does something few could imagine. He cuts his concubine's body into 12 pieces and sends one to each tribe of Israel. Graphic, grotesque, and unforgettable, but also effective. The nation is shaken. A collective gasp echoes across the land. It wasn't just a body being divided. It was a symbol, a call to wake up, to confront the rot festering in their midst. The tribes gather, hearts burning with outrage, demanding answers. How could this happen in Israel, among their own people? The Levite tells his story, not the whole truth, but enough to spark a fire. Everyone agrees, Gibeah must be punished. But Benjamin, they close ranks. Instead of surrendering the guilty, they prepare for battle. Just like today, pride and tribal loyalty often blind us to truth. Sometimes defending the indefensible feels easier than facing shame. And then, civil war. Brother against brother. The tribes march against Benjamin, and the casualties are brutal. Tens of thousands fall. It's a bloodbath fueled by justice, grief, and ego. The pain, unbearable. Imagine seeing people you once called family on the battlefield. Think about our world today. Political wars, church divisions, families torn apart. It's easy to go to war, harder to listen, to repent, to rebuild. In the end, only 600 men from the tribe of Benjamin survive. An entire lineage brought to the edge of extinction. And this wasn't some pagan enemy. It was their own. That's what makes it sting. Sometimes, the deepest wounds are inflicted by those who share our language, our blood, our beliefs. But wait. This tragedy didn't close the story. It opened a new dilemma. And what they chose to do next is just as shocking. What do you do when you've nearly wiped out an entire tribe and suddenly realize you need them? The tribes of Israel are left staring at the ashes of their own wrath. Benjamin is down to 600 men, no wives, no future. That's when panic sets in. They made a vow not to give their daughters in marriage, but now they regret it. Ever felt that? Making a decision in anger and later realizing the price was your own peace? So they look for loopholes. One tribe, Jabesh Gilead, didn't join the battle. The solution? Strike them down and take their unmarried women, 400 of them, as wives for the Benjamites. Sounds cruel? Because it is. It's a paradoxical blend of justice and barbarity. Sometimes, even those trying to fix a problem end up deepening the wound. Today, we see echoes of this in broken systems patched with more brokenness. But they still needed 200 more women. So during a festival in Shiloh, they come up with a disturbing plan. Let the Benjamite men hide in the vineyards and abduct the dancing girls. That way, the fathers wouldn't technically be giving their daughters, so the vow wouldn't be broken. Twisted logic, isn't it? When rules matter more than people, cruelty often wears a mask of righteousness. And this wasn't just back then. Religious legalism still does the same today. In the end, Benjamin survives. But at what cost? A tribe rebuilt on blood, abduction, and silence. There's no clean ending, no satisfying justice. Just survival. This story leaves us with an ache and a mirror. It asks, what are we willing to sacrifice to feel righteous? And how often do we solve our mistakes with more mistakes? The book ends here, but the questions, they stay, echoing into our time, waiting for someone brave enough to answer. So now that you've seen it, not just with your eyes, but with your spirit, what does this story awaken in you? Because at the end of the day, the book of Judges closes with no hero, no happy ending, just an echo. In those days, there was no king in Israel. But But what about today? Who is reigning inside you? Is it compassion or pride, fear or faith? This story wasn't written to shock. It was written to awaken. It shows what happens when we drift away from the presence of God. When each person lives guided by their own reasoning, as if right and wrong were relative. And the scariest part? It's seeing how much we still repeat these same cycles. In families, in churches, in nations. But what if, instead of judging the past, we used it as a mirror? What decisions have we made out of pain? What vows have we made in haste? And what wounds have we ignored for the sake of spiritual convenience? Because true transformation begins when we stare into the chaos and choose not to replicate it. Now tell me, which part of this story struck you the most? The abandonment? The war? The way they tried to fix the wrong with more wrong? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what this stirred in you. And if this journey touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe and activate the notifications. We still have many truths to uncover, and I want to walk with you all the way.